In today's video, I'll be explaining every single Stranger Things Season 5 ending theory. Some of these theories will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Eleven's powers. And one theory at the end connects back to Season 1 in a way that'll make you question everything. But first, we need to talk about time, because if this theory is right, nothing that happened in Hawkins was ever real. Eddie return as Kaz theory. There are speculations that Eddie will resurrect as a vampiric thrall under Vecna's control. Eddie died heroically in Season 4, sacrificing himself to save Dustin during the Demobat swarm. But here's what nobody's talking about. If Eddie comes back corrupted, he won't just be another monster to fight. He'll know every weakness, every strategy, every emotional vulnerability of the people trying to stop him. Keep that in mind, because the emotional manipulation is exactly what makes the next theory even worse. Fans immediately started theorizing he wasn't gone for good. The Kaz theory pulls from Dungeons and Dragons lore, where Kaz is a vampire lieutenant who betrays the Lich Vecna. In the game, Kaz wields a cursed sword and becomes a major villain. Stranger Things has always leaned into D&D mythology, so fans connected Eddie's death by Demobat bites to vampirism. The theory suggests Vecna could reanimate Eddie's corpse or trap his consciousness, turning him into a weapon against the group. This would devastate Dustin and force the characters to confront a corrupted version of their friend. Sources like Elle and Thought Catalog covered this extensively after Season 4 dropped. Fans analyzed the Demobat infection, wondering if the bites carried some transformative venom. Others pointed to the fact that Eddie's body was left in the Upside Down, which could mean Vecna has access to it. Variants of the theory include Eddie retaining some awareness and helping the group from inside Vecna's hive mind, or Eddie becoming a full antagonist who needs to be put down. The likelihood is considered low to medium because bringing back a beloved character as a villain risks backlash, but the emotional payoff could be massive if done right. Imagine Dustin having to fight Eddie while Eddie begs him to finish it. That scene alone would wreck audiences. Eddie as a vampire thrall is nightmare fuel, but at least his mind would be gone, right? Wrong. Because what if the person trapped in Vecna's consciousness is fully aware, watching themselves commit atrocities? Unable to stop? That's what might be happening to Max right now, and if she's awakened there, she's not alone. Eleven created the Upside Down theory. The theory argues that when Elle banished Henry Creel in 1979, she didn't send him to an existing dimension, but accidentally created one. So if 11 accidentally created hell itself, that makes her responsible for every single death since 1979. Bob, Billy, Eddie, all of them died because of one moment when she was 12 years old. That guilt would destroy anyone. But what if there's someone who could help her carry it? Someone with powers 11 doesn't have. Someone who disappeared after Season 2 and never came back. Until now, maybe. This theory emerged after Season 4 revealed Eleven's confrontation with Henry at Hawkins' lab. When she overpowered him, she opened a rift and blasted him into the Upside Down. Fans noticed the dimension looked barren and lifeless in flashbacks, not the twisted mirror of Hawkins we see later. The theory suggests Eleven's psychic energy literally created the Upside Down as a prison for Henry, and he's been shaping it ever since. Novels like Suspicious Minds hint at the lab's experiments, tapping into other dimensions, but nothing confirms the Upside Down existed before 1979. This theory makes Eleven responsible for everything, from the Demogorgons to the Mind Flayer, because she inadvertently gave Vecna the tools to build an army. It adds tragic weight to her arc. She's not just fighting a monster, she's fighting her own mistake. Some fans push back, arguing the Upside Down must have existed independently because of its complexity. Others embrace the guilt angle, thinking Eleven's realization that she caused it all will drive her final sacrifice. The theory remains speculative but popular because it ties Eleven's origin to the story's end. Kaylee reappearance theory. There is an interesting speculation that 8 will come back to help 11 in the final battle, bringing illusion powers into play. Kaylee, also known as 8, appeared in Season 2's controversial standalone episode. She has the ability to create realistic illusions, making people see things that aren't there. Fans have wondered if she'll return ever since, especially after the show introduced other numbers from Brenner's experiments. This theory suggests Kaylee could be a key asset against Vecna, using illusions to confuse him or mask the group's movements. Evidence is thin, mostly based on the fact that Kaylee is still alive and unaccounted for. The Duffers have said Season 5 ties up loose ends, which could include her. Some fans think she'll arrive in Hawkins with other surviving numbers, forming a psychic team. Others believe she'll provide 11 with a power boost, their combined abilities creating new tactics. The theory's likelihood is low, because Kaylee's episode divided audiences, and the show hasn't referenced her since. But bringing her back would be a fan service moment, and a chance to rehabilitate her character. It would also visually dazzle, with illusions clashing against Vecna's nightmare visions. The Kali theory probably won't happen, which means Eleven's fighting alone. And when your protagonist is isolated, the show starts killing everyone around her. Not the main cast, they've got plot armor. But the side characters, they're walking red shirts. And the Duffers have a pattern. They kill the characters you forget are expendable, like the paranoid conspiracy theorist who's been right about everything. Murray Bauman death theory. Murray has been a fan favorite since season 2, providing comic relief and surprising competence. He's helped Joyce and Hopper multiple times, even killing a Demogorgon with a flamethrower, but he's also a side character without plot armor, making him expendable. Fans on Reddit and social media have speculated that Murray will die heroically, probably saving Joyce or Hopper. His death would be emotional without devastating the core group. He represents the adult allies who've supported the kids, and losing him would show that victory costs everyone something. There's no concrete evidence beyond the general expectation that not everyone survives. Murray's actor Brett Gelman has avoided spoilers, leaving his fate ambiguous. Some fans think he'll survive and end up running a conspiracy podcast about Hawkins, turning his paranoia into truth. Others want him to go out in a blaze of glory, flamethrower in hand. The theory persists because Murray's death would be sad, but narratively clean. Another adult in danger is someone unexpected. Murray dying makes sense. He's lovable, but not essential. But what if the Duffers go darker? What if they kill someone so unexpected, so narratively pointless, that it proves nobody's safe? That's where the Ted Wheeler theory gets interesting. Ted Wheeler death theory. The assumption is that Nancy's clueless dad will sacrifice himself to protect his family, finally stepping up. Ted has been the show's background dad, oblivious to everything happening around him. He's a running joke, always napping or complaining about trivial things while his kids fight monsters. This theory flips his character by having him discover the truth in season 5 and make a heroic stand. Maybe he stumbles into the Upside Down and holds off a Demogorgon so Nancy and Mike can escape. Maybe he takes a bullet from a military officer threatening his family. The theory appeals to fans who want depth for Ted, showing that even cowards can find courage. It would be shocking because no one expects it, and it would recontextualize his entire character. The likelihood is low because Ted has barely been in the story, but the Duffers love subverting expectations. If they killed Ted, it would be both tragic and weirdly funny, fitting the show's tonal balance. Okay, enough death. Let's reset. Because if everyone dies, the show's just trauma porn. The Duffers know we need hope. They know at least one character has to walk away happy. And there's a kid who's lost more than anyone, who had to watch his hero die in his arms. If anyone deserves a win, it's Dustin. But will he get it? Dustin and Susie. Happy ending theory. Dustin has suffered immensely, losing Eddie and nearly dying multiple times. Fans want him to catch a break. This theory suggests he'll survive season 5, reunite with Susie, and end the show on a hopeful note. Maybe they go to college together. Maybe they invent something revolutionary, using the knowledge gained from Hawkins. Evidence comes from Dustin's resilience, and the show's need for at least some happy endings. The Duffers have emphasized that not everything is bleak, and Dustin represents the kid who keeps fighting despite loss. Susie's character has been built up enough that a reunion would feel earned. Fans on social media have embraced this theory as a palate cleanser from all the death predictions. It's wholesome and optimistic, exactly what audiences need after years of trauma. Dustin getting his happy ending is the wholesome theory that keeps us sane. But the internet is chaos, and some theories out there are so unhinged, so bizarrely specific, that they almost loop back to being plausible. The next few theories prove that when fans have too much time, they start seeing patterns that might not exist. Or maybe they do. Let's find out. Open-ended threat theory. This theory argues the show will end with closure for the characters, but not the world. Maybe the gates close, but the dimension still exists. Maybe Vecna dies, but the Mind Flayer survives. The idea is that the Duffers will leave the door open for spin-offs or future stories without undoing the main cast's victory. Evidence comes from interviews where they've discussed expanding the Stranger Things universe without the original characters. An open-ended threat allows them to explore new stories in Hawkins or other locations affected by the Upside Down. Fans are divided on this. Some want total closure, every gate sealed, and every monster dead. Others like the idea that the world remains dangerous, reflecting real-life ongoing struggles. The theory suggests the finale will balance satisfaction with realism, showing that some problems don't have perfect solutions. An open ending makes business sense for Netflix, but it makes fans paranoid, because if the dimension stays dangerous after Vecna dies, who benefits? Not the characters. They just want peace. So who's really pulling the strings? That's where these next theories stop being about monsters and start being about power, about governments, about what happens when your survival becomes someone else's profit. These theories get conspiratorial. They're kind of insane, but let's see where the paranoia leads. Memory montage theory. This theory argues that the characters who've died deserve acknowledgement in the final episode. Maybe Eleven has a psychic vision where she sees them at peace. Maybe the group holds a memorial. Maybe their sacrifices directly contribute to the final victory, with their memories inspiring the heroes. Fans want emotional payoffs for every loss, and a montage would deliver that. Evidence comes from the Duffers' statement that the finale includes 35 to 40 minutes of characters processing goodbyes. That runtime suggests extended emotional scenes, possibly including tributes to the dead. The theory resonates because fans miss characters like Bob and Alexei, whose deaths were heartbreaking. Bringing them back, even briefly, would provide catharsis. Honoring the dead gives us closure. But what about the living? These kids have been fighting interdimensional horror since middle school. They've seen people dissolved, possessed, murdered. You don't just bounce back from that. So, does the finale pretend they can return to normal? Or does it do something nobody expects to make the strange permanent? Stranger Things are normal theory. This theory flips the premise. Instead of returning to a world without monsters, the characters accept that strange things are real and must be managed. Maybe Hawkins becomes a monitoring station for dimensional rifts. Maybe Eleven uses her powers openly, no longer hiding. The theory suggests the ending won't erase the trauma, but integrate it, showing growth through acceptance. It's thematically rich, but tonally tricky. The show has always contrasted the mundane 80s setting with the horrific Upside Down. Merging them permanently would change the feel of the universe. Fans who support this theory see it as mature storytelling, rejecting the idea that heroes must return to how things were. Others think it's too ambiguous and prefer clear victory. Another title-related theory digs into the opening sequence: Alphabet Wall callback theory. In Season 1, Joyce used Christmas lights and a painted alphabet to talk to Will in the Upside Down. It's one of the show's most iconic images. This theory predicts a callback, where that method becomes crucial again, maybe to communicate with Max or trap Vecna. Fans love symmetry, and the Duffers have built their story on it. Bringing back the lights would be emotionally powerful. Some versions of the theory suggest the alphabet wall appears in the Upside Down itself, with Will using it to send a message to Joyce. Others think it'll be a subtle background detail, a reminder of where it all started. The likelihood is medium because callbacks are the Duffers' specialty. Whether it's major or minor, fans expect some reference to those lights. But callbacks only work if they serve the story. And there's one callback that would do more than make us cry. It would change how we hear every song in the entire series, because Season 4 made one song iconic. Season 5 needs to do it again. The final song theory. Season 4 made Running Up That Hill a cultural phenomenon by using it to pull Max out of Vecna's trance. Fans expect Season 5 to deliver another iconic music moment. Theories range wildly. Some think it'll be a song from Will's childhood, something Joyce sang to him. Others believe it'll be a group sing-along, with everyone joining to create a psychic shield. Popular guesses include songs by The Clash, Joy Division, or even something more mainstream like Journey. The song choice matters because it has to carry emotional weight and fit the 80s timeline. Fans have created playlists and debated lyrics, trying to guess what the Duffers will pick. The theory is guaranteed to be partially right, because the show will definitely use music dramatically. The only question is which song, and for which character. Whatever song they choose will break the internet for months. But songs are moments. What about the final words? The last line of dialogue that defines everything. That's what fans are obsessing over. Because if the Duffers get it wrong, it ruins the entire series. No pressure. The final line theory. This theory has fans obsessed with crafting the perfect bookend moment. Some believe the final line will mirror the opening of Season 1, with someone saying, "Should we tell them the truth?" Or another callback to when this all started. Others think it'll be more hopeful. Maybe Eleven saying, "I'm home," or Mike telling her, "You're not the monster." The theory gained traction after the Duffers mentioned wanting the ending to feel inevitable, like looking back and realizing it couldn't have ended any other way. Reddit threads are filled with predictions. Some fans want something about friendship enduring. Others want acknowledgement of loss. A popular variant suggests the final line will be spoken by Will, bringing his journey full circle since his disappearance started everything. Trailers haven't given any hints, which makes the speculation more intense. The theory matters because that final line will define how audiences remember the show. It needs to capture everything the series meant without being cheesy. Fans have written entire essays analyzing potential dialogue options, weighing emotional impact against narrative closure. The final line theory is pure speculation because we have zero evidence. But here's what we do know. The Duffers love using old pieces to solve new problems. And there's one character whose research created this nightmare. He's dead, but his notes aren't. And what's in those notes might be the only way to win. Dr. Brenner Legacy Theory. Brenner died in Season 4, but his decades of research on psychic abilities and alternate dimensions might still be relevant. This theory proposes that Eleven or another character discovers Brenner's hidden notes, video logs, or experimental data that reveal Vecna's weakness. It would be a twisted form of redemption for Brenner, whose evil created the problem, but whose knowledge solves it. Novels like Suspicious Minds explored Brenner's methodical documentation of everything, supporting the idea that he left comprehensive records. Some versions suggest Brenner predicted Vecna's return and left instructions specifically for Eleven. Others think Owens will deliver Brenner's final message, something recorded before his death. The theory divides fans. Some hate the idea of giving Brenner any positive legacy. Others find it thematically interesting that his sins and his science are inseparable. The likelihood is low to medium, depending on whether the Duffers want to complicate Brenner's villain status or leave him as purely antagonistic. Let's talk about theories involving the younger kids stepping into danger. Holly Wheeler, abduction theory. Holly has been background decoration for most of the series, a cute kid who occasionally wanders into scenes. But Season 4 showed her staring at the grandfather clock, Vecna's signature image, which made fans wonder if she's marked. This theory suggests Vecna will abduct Holly to lure the Wheelers into a trap or to break Nancy's focus during the final battle. It would parallel Will's abduction from Season 1, bringing the story full circle. Evidence the clock scene felt deliberate, not random. The Duffers have said Season 5 brings everything back to family and home. Taking Holly would force Karen and Ted to finally face what their kids have been fighting. Some fans think Holly will develop latent psychic abilities from Vecna's influence, becoming another number. Others believe she'll be rescued quickly, but the attempt will unite the family. The theory's likelihood is medium, because it fits the pattern of escalating personal stakes. Holly getting taken would devastate the Wheelers. But she's not the only dead character who could return, because there's one death from Season 1 that fans never got over. One character Nancy still feels guilty about. One person whose return, even for a moment, would justify everything Nancy's been fighting for. Barb return in Flashback Theory. Barb died in Season 1 and became a fan rallying cry for characters who deserved better. Her death haunted Nancy through multiple seasons. This theory suggests Season 5 will bring Barb back through flashbacks, dream sequences, or psychic visions. Maybe Nancy sees her while fighting Vecna, a reminder of why she's been fighting so hard. Maybe Eleven encounters Barb's consciousness in the Upside Down, trapped like Max. The theory appeals to fans who never got over Barb's abrupt exit. It would provide emotional payoff for Nancy's guilt and show that no death was meaningless. Evidence comes from the Duffers stating they want to honor the show's history. Bringing back Barb, even briefly, would acknowledge the fans who made her a cultural moment. The likelihood is low because it risks feeling like fan service, but the emotional potential is high. Some theories get into the nitty-gritty of how the final battle will actually play out. The psychic team-up theory. This theory imagines Eleven, potentially joined by Kali, Max if she gains powers, and maybe other surviving numbers, linking their minds to overpower Vecna. It's the superhero team-up approach applied to Stranger Things. Fans have compared it to moments in other shows where multiple magic users pool their strength. The theory suggests that Vecna is too powerful for any single psychic to defeat, so the solution is collective action. Evidence is thin, but includes the show's emphasis on friendship and teamwork. The Duffers have always made the group's bond their greatest weapon. A psychic team-up would visualize that theme literally. Some versions include non-psychic characters contributing, maybe through music or creating a distraction. Others keep it focused on the mental battle, with dazzling effects as different powers combine. The likelihood depends on whether other psychic characters return. Without Kali or new numbers, it's probably just 11, which makes a team-up harder to execute. Psychic team-ups are cool, but let's be real, the show's not an Avengers movie. The Duffers care more about personal stakes than power scaling. And there's one relationship that's been building since Season 1 that needs resolution, not between kids. Between two adults who've lost everything and found each other in the chaos. Jopper Wedding Theory. Hopper and Joyce have been circling each other since Season 1. Their relationship finally solidified in Season 4 after Hopper's return from Russia. This theory predicts the series will end with them married or engaged, giving fans the happy ending they've wanted. Evidence comes from both characters' arcs centering on family and belonging. Hopper lost his daughter Sarah and found purpose in protecting Eleven. Joyce has been a warrior mom protecting her kids and anyone else who needs it. Bringing them together officially would create a blended family unit that mirrors the found family theme of the entire show. Some versions have the wedding happen mid-season as a moment of hope before the final battle. Others place it in the epilogue, showing life after Vecna. The theory resonates because fans are desperate for at least one unambiguously happy ending. The likelihood is medium to high because the Duffers love delivering emotional moments, and a Jopper wedding would wreck audiences in the best way. A Jopper wedding would give us hope, but hope doesn't win battles. Location does, strategy does, and there's one place that keeps showing up in fan theories. The place where it all started, for Vecna. The place where his humanity died and his power was born. If the final battle happens anywhere, it's there. Creel House Final Battle Theory. The Creel House became central in Season 4 as the location where Henry Creel murdered his family and where Vecna was later trapped. This theory suggests the final confrontation will happen there, bringing everything full circle. The house represents Vecna's origin, his trauma, his power. Fighting him there would be symbolically appropriate. Evidence comes from the Duffers' love of location callbacks. Major events have happened at consistent spots like the lab, the Wheeler House, Castle Byers. The Creel House feels like the natural endpoint. Some versions have the characters luring Vecna there deliberately. Others suggest he returns on his own, drawn to the site of his transformation. The house could collapse during the battle, burying Vecna's legacy along with his physical form. Fans have analyzed the house's architecture and history, looking for clues about hidden rooms or dimensional weak points. The theory's likelihood is high because location matters in Stranger Things, and the Creel House is too significant to abandon. There's also a darker theory about collateral damage, the Hawkins destroyed theory. This theory takes the destruction to its logical extreme. Hawkins doesn't survive. The final battle levels the town completely, killing civilians and making the area uninhabitable. The characters win against Vecna, but lose their home. It would be a Pyrrhic victory, emphasizing that war has costs beyond the heroes. Evidence comes from the already severe damage shown in trailers. The town is torn apart, ash falling, buildings crumbling. Taking that further to total destruction would shock audiences. Some versions have the government bombing Hawkins to contain the threat, forcing the characters to evacuate. Others show the upside down, consuming everything before being sealed. The theory appeals to fans who want consequences that matter. The show has protected Hawkins despite repeated invasions. Destroying it would prove no place is safe. The likelihood is low to medium because it's narratively brutal, but the Duffers have never shied from darkness. Hawkins getting destroyed would be brutal, final. But even if the town survives, the people are changed forever, and some relationships matter more than others. There's one friendship that defines this entire show. One bond that proves not all soulmates are romantic. If the Duffers protect anything, it's this: Steve and Robin Endgame friendship theory. Steve and Robin's friendship became one of Season 3's highlights. They're platonic soulmates who understand each other completely. This theory suggests Season 5 will emphasize their relationship as proof that not all love is romantic. Maybe they open a business together in the epilogue. Maybe they move away from Hawkins and start fresh. The theory matters because queer representation through Robin has been important to fans, and keeping their friendship central without forcing romance validates platonic bonds. Evidence comes from interviews where the actors discussed their characters' connection. The Duffers have consistently shown that Steve and Robin make each other better. Fans want to see them thrive together, supporting each other through trauma. The likelihood is high because their dynamic is too beloved to sideline. Another friendship theory focuses on the original party. Party stays together theory. This theory rejects any scenario where the original four are separated by death or distance. They started this journey together in Season 1, and they'll end it together. Evidence comes from the show's core theme of friendship conquering everything. The party has been the heart of Stranger Things since Episode 1. Breaking them up would feel wrong. Some versions suggest they'll all attend the same college, continuing their adventures. Others imagine them staying in Hawkins to monitor the supernatural. The theory appeals to fans who need optimism. After seasons of trauma, these kids deserve happiness. The likelihood varies depending on how dark the Duffers want to go, but leaving the party intact would satisfy the largest portion of the audience. We still don't know the most important thing. How does it actually end? Do the heroes win clean? Do they sacrifice everything? Does Hawkins survive? The finale is too 2 hours long, with 40 minutes of goodbyes. That's a lot of crying. But before we get there, we need to talk about the one theory that explains everything. The theory that makes every single season make sense in retrospect. Because if the Duffers planned this from day one, you're about to see the entire show differently. The party staying together is the dream scenario, but it's also naive because we haven't talked about the one group of people who might actually help. The villains from Season 3, who've been conspicuously absent. The Cold War enemy who might realize Vecna doesn't care about borders. What if the Russians come back? The Russian redemption theory. The Russians have been antagonists since Season 3, trying to weaponize the Upside Down for Cold War advantage. This theory proposes they'll switch sides in Season 5 after realizing Vecna threatens everyone, not just Americans. Maybe Yuri, Dmitri, or other Russian characters return with vital intelligence or weapons. The idea plays into themes of unity against greater threats. Evidence comes from the show's history of redeeming villains. Billy got a hero's death. Brenner showed flickers of humanity. Russians helping could be the ultimate example. Novels explored Russian experiments parallel to American ones, suggesting they have unique knowledge. The likelihood is low because it would require significant screen time to set up and execute, but it would add unexpected allies to the final battle. There's a theory that connects everything back to the first episode, the time jump epilogue theory. This theory imagines the last few minutes jumping forward 5 or 10 years. We see the characters as adults. Maybe Eleven and Mike have kids. Maybe Dustin's a scientist. Maybe Nancy's a famous journalist. The epilogue would show them happy and adjusted, proving they survived, not just physically, but emotionally. Evidence comes from the Duffers, mentioning a substantial finale runtime that allows for extended goodbyes. A time jump epilogue would provide that closure. Fans have created detailed scenarios about where everyone ends up. Some want to see the group reunited for a memorial or celebration. Others prefer individual scenes showing each character's new life. The theory resonates because it offers hope. After everything these kids endured, seeing them thrive as adults would be cathartic. The likelihood is medium to high because epilogues are standard for long-running series. All these theories, all this speculation, deaths, sacrifices, callbacks, hope. But we're missing the biggest question, the one that determines whether the ending even works. Does it jump forward in time, showing us who survives and how they heal? Or does it end in the moment, leaving their futures to imagination? If you enjoyed this video and want to see the evolution of Steve Harrington, click the video on the screen.